football, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some more Friday night North Carolina high school playoffs, 1A, 2A, 3A playoffs. That's exactly right, playoffs. You want to talk about playoffs? Terry Reinhardt, Hunter Yates here. I have Rob Roop in here with us as well, and we're waiting for wherever Shannon Allen could be. Shannon.
This generation. I'm telling.
This generation.
What can I say?
If I have to hear that one more time, I'll probably hear it in the morning, too, when I show up just at 8 o'clock. Anyways, I know that Terry is excited to be in here tonight, even though he didn't have as good of a Thanksgiving as he probably was hoping he would. But
well, it's a Thanksgiving that you're glad you had good food and around company and around family. It was a good thing. So, I mean, you take the good with the bad. Even though State lost and the Cowboys lost.
Yeah. You're still in here with an NC State shirt on, so
yeah, it was real tough.
Yeah, it was a tough
yesterday. I was glad that when we said, "All right, everybody go home," then I could go home and cry for about 2 hours.
There you go. Yeah. That's what counts. Rob, did you have yourself a good Thanksgiving?
I got to say it was pretty good because being an Eagles fan, it was very enjoyable watching the Cowboys get beat. So it was, and I appreciate the lack of effort by the Cowboys to keep my Eagles in the division race. So
I agree.
I certainly appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I mean, as a Washington fan, I love to see it as well, but we have nothing to play for anymore, so I just enjoy seeing everything else. I might become a Buffalo fan now. I loved seeing that. I'm going to root for them.
Philadelphia and the Cowboys keep losing. Y'all can be back in this thing next week.
That's true, too. That's true, too.
Oh, that's what's – but see, for us to do that, Terry, we have to win.
we sacrifice the number one pick.
Exactly. We have to win. So that would be asking for too much. Well, go ahead.
I am going to ask for a lot, though. Come on, Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
Show me something you haven't shown.
Show me something you haven't shown. Well, Terry, do you have any tidbits that you want to go over? We'll go to Terry's tidbits before we get into our games.
We will. And national leading all-time with Caledonia out of Minnesota with 66 straight victories. Martinsville's coming in second from West Virginia with 54. Tarboro out of North Carolina is third with 41. If you go in North Carolina, again, Tarboro with 41, Weddington with 23. 3 teams are tied with 13, 1 team with 12, and that's Richmond County, and 6 teams are tied with 11, and one of those teams is North Lincoln Knights.
Ooh.
So
North Lincoln, well, they've got a little bit of a challenge tonight. We'll get into that one when we start talking about the games that we'll be having tonight on our broadcasts. We're getting closer and closer to the end of high school football season, but now the cream of the crop is really starting to rise up, and as we're getting deeper into the 1A, 1AA, 2A, 2AA, 3A, 3AA, as we start to dwindle on down a little bit more, Rob, is there anybody that you see on our board that you're kind of surprised have made it this far?
I think looking at them, I think most of the teams are there. I think that West Rowan team has jumped up and surprised some people. Of course, beat Crest last week. But when you watch that crowd play, they look like an NFL offensive line when they line up. The running back reminds me of the kid from Kings Mountain. Stands about 5'6", about 170 pounds, and he just hides behind that line and gets to the other side. I think they may be a little bit of a surprise team. But I think other than that, I think we've kind of held chalk pretty much throughout everything we've seen.
Terry, how about you?
Well, I mean, first of all, I must say them West Lincoln Rebels.
Yeah.
I mean, not supposed to be in round 3. They practiced yesterday, and a couple coaches sent me texts saying, feels funny practicing on Thanksgiving, for the first time ever in the history of the school. So, and hey, they're out there. They've put in as much work as Shelby has throughout the years. Maybe not all the talent is over there, but hey, that's why you play the game tonight, and all I have to do is be better tonight. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, any other day, just one day.
Which I'll tell you, Terry, when the brackets came out to me, looking at West Lincoln's Road, even though I felt like they, knowing what Ashe County brought to the table, I felt like it was a definite win for West Lincoln for me. And I felt even watching South Point this year with what West Lincoln was doing, I felt like it was a win as well. And I'm very excited for the Rebels. I think when you look at this season, and I remember thinking back to when Crest started making their runs and how exciting the first time was you started experiencing those things and what that means for your program, what it does for a school, what it does for a community. Man, that is just some exciting times for sure.
Oh, yeah. And I want to touch another little tidbit while we're speaking of just West Lincoln.
Yeah.
Man, then we'll go into the game a little bit later. But I'm just going to go over what West Lincoln squad has done over the last 2 years. And number one, they stopped an 11-game losing streak to Lincoln that started way back in 2006. They stopped a 13-game losing streak to East Lincoln, which started back in 2004 before Mike Bias was even there. They stopped a 27-year game losing streak to Bandy's from 1992 up. They stopped a 35-game losing streak to Maiden from 1985. Last year was the first team in West Lincoln to win 9 games in 1 year under Coach Sane. They turned around this year and Coach Ponders, and they've led them up to having the first 10-win season in the school history. First team to win a playoff game in school history. First team to have a home win playoff game in school history. Last year they scored 400 points, the most West Lincoln had ever scored in a season. This year they up to 556 total points for this year, So, I mean, they've set records last year and this year that just accomplished everything that this squad has done. So, I mean, hey, my whole deal is if West Lincoln loses tonight against Shelby, a lot of things have been accomplished in the last 2 years for West Lincoln football. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good for them, great for West Lincoln. Going to hope that they can come out on top, but they do have a little bit of a brick wall waiting in front of them.
They got this thing that they call like 5 out of the last 6 years state champions, and
yeah,
sometimes that gets in your way. But somebody's got to go through it.
Somebody's got to do it. But before we get to those games, we'll go over some of the games that we won't be having on our broadcast, and we can afford to go in depth with these a little bit. If you've got some notes, you guys will have probably more notes than I'll have. But we'll start with some of the 1A games. Murphy and Robbinsville. That is one of the matchups in the 1 single A. I'm going to start with Rob. Rob, what do you think about this game that's going to be happening tonight between Murphy and Robbinsville?
I tell you guys, that Robbinsville is a heck of a ball team. You look at what they do, 341 yards rushing per game as a team. Murphy, a great history, but to me, when I looked at the 1A bracket, Robbinsville to me was my favorite to come out of the West from the beginning, and I see no reason why that doesn't continue tonight. I think with their ground game, I think they control the clock, and I think they take care of Murphy tonight.
Absolutely. Terry?
Well, on our end of the deal, Murphy is the number 4 seed at 10-2, playing the number 1 Robbinsville at 12-0. This is a 20-time state championships among both of them. 9 times for Murphy, 11 times for Robbinsville. When they both look at it and how they come in, Murphy's gave up 402 points and had 179 scored against them. Robbinsville has scored a few more, 510, and gave up 214. But since Robbinsville has made their stock back into being one of the top 1A teams in the state, Coach Gentry up at Murphy, hey, this is a tall order to ask going there to win. If I was playing at Murphy, I might give them a little edge. I think this game's going to be close, and it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. But I'm also with Rob. I got Robbinsville coming out on top of this game, and I got a feeling it's going to be something like 27-24 or 27-21 in that range.
So you're going to say that it's a close game. The real question is, though, do they put up the kind of rushing numbers that Rob kind of nudged at? The 300, you think they get close to it?
Yeah, I think they do. I just don't see Murphy having the defense to slow him down tonight. I really don't.
Okay. So there we have it. Both of you are saying Robbinsville has a chance over Murphy. We'll go to the other one in the 1 single A. The Thomas Jefferson Griffons and Elkin are facing off. I'll go over to you, Terry. Does Thomas Jefferson come out on top against Elkin?
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson comes in 11-1 against Elkin 10-2. Thomas Jefferson 6-6 is their 7th appearance in the playoff. But that they have produced all year long. We saw them falter one time against Mountain Island. But now you're going to Elkin, another team that's only gave up 198 points. But if you look at Thomas Jefferson, they've only gave up 62 all year. So you kind of worry what's going to happen, but Elkin is a 4-time state champion. The last one come back in 2006. So they've been there. They've done that. This is for Coach Cash. This is a game you got to get over the hump. Can you pull your team out? And I'm going to go on the road, and I'm going to take them Griffons to knock Elkin off. And I think this one's also going to be a close game. I think we got a lot of close ones. When you make it to round 3, you've had a great year, and you're playing after Thanksgiving. But I'm going to take Thomas Jefferson to win this one 35-28.
What do you say?
Yeah, Terry, I think you made a great point. I love the play of Grant Logan at quarterback for Thomas Jefferson, the job he does. Coach Cash, we know what kind of coach he is. But then I looked at the Elkin team, the 2 losses coming to Mount Airy and Ashe County were the 2 games they lost. I think going on the road here, I think it's going to be tough for Thomas Jefferson. I like Elkin at home tonight. I think Elkin wins this game by the same score, just the other direction.
Okay. So that takes up the one single A the two games that we have tonight. Let's go to the one double A. We got Mountain Island Charter getting ready to play defending one double A state champions, East Surrey. Rob, what do we think about this game?
I tell you what, that East Surrey team is an interesting squad to me, guys. 12-0 on the year at home tonight. And what about the play of their quarterback, Jefferson Boaz, over 300 yards passing per game, which to me is quite unusual to see at the 1A ranks. I think that could be something for Mountain Island Charter. They've not seen many teams that are going to throw the ball that much. So I want to see how Mountain Island Charter is able to respond to the passing game that they're going to be able to see tonight.
Well, this is a game. East Surrey's the only team in our state to beat Reidsville.
That's right.
So, I mean, when I look at that, I'm thinking that's a good good check mark out beside your name. But Mount Airy comes in here 11-2. This is their fourth appearance. They're 4-3 overall. East Surrey 12-0. When you go by points, Mountain Island scored 600, gave up 116. East Surrey's about done the same thing, 682, gave up 137. This is game. Burris has to be the guy. You got to control the ball to me. You got to keep East Surrey's offense off the field in this game. I want to take somebody on the road. I want to say our community of Mountain Island and our teams around here can survive, but I don't know whether they can go to East Surrey and do that. And I'm going to take East Surrey to win this one 42-28.
So with that, do you guys believe East Surrey's got the opportunity to repeat?
I think they do, but I think a lot of people in the 1A game especially have been circling that potential matchup of East Surrey-Mitchell. I think a lot of people are excited about that game possibly coming down the pike. I think the score may end up actually be a little worse than what Terry thinks there. I think East Surrey puts a lot of points up on the board tonight. Again, I think this is the kind of offense Mountain Island Charter's not seen. I don't think a lot of teams have seen this kind of offense. Like you said, Terry, I thought you made a great point with Reidsville and what they did against them. This is an outstanding football team. When we start talking about teams across classifications, this is a team that I think you talk about across classifications with what they're able to do.
Well, I know the head coach very well at East Surrey. He was my teacher when he was at Bandy's. I know Trent Loman very well. And I remember the offense he tried to implement when he took over for his dad. Well, he tried before he obviously went on to East Surrey. He changed it up his last year at Bandy's, but when he first took over after Randy left, he wanted to run the spread. He wanted to run the spread offense. And, when you run the spread, you really have to have the athletes for it. We just didn't quite have the athletes that it really needed to flourish and be a true spread offense. And it looks like he's throwing for 300-something yards a game. The quarterback, he must have implemented some sort of spread air raid offense. So looks like it's really working out for them, and that's going to be something. And especially at the high school level, not a lot of high schools, they really don't, or at least in this area, maybe at like the Texas high schools and the Floridas, they really air it out there. They run more of your traditional college pro-style offense, but you don't really see that in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, I think, guys, maybe the most proficient passing team we see Shelby and what they do, and even Best doesn't average 300 yards a game. That's why that is an amazing number for me for this young man at East Surrey.
Well, another thing, too, when I start looking at teams and coaches that come in and can you change stuff. I mean, I remember when Chris Norman coming in over there at Shelby, and some people didn't like what type of offense he was running. Like, that's not going to work here. But, I mean, he won a state championship right off the bat. And then here comes Lance Ware says, whoops, I'm going to spread everything. Everybody says, no, that's not what we run here.
Right.
You cannot do that. But, hey, 5 out of 6 state champions the last 6 years, I think he's proven that you can.
Yeah.
But, when you get to stuff like this and you got coaches, believe in your coaches. I mean, it's even happening at West Lincoln this year. The coaches are down there and they hear people up in the stands, which every coach has 300, 400 coaches.
There are 400 coaches, yeah.
But, for them, stick with your game plan, no matter what you're hearing in the back of your ears, but stick with your game plan of what you need to do.
The other 1AA matchup, we already mentioned one of the names, is Mitchell and Swain County. Rob, I know you said that East Surrey and Mitchell is what everybody's circling. Yeah. Is Mitchell going to be able to pull it out over Swain County?
I think they do, guys. I think Mitchell playing at home. You look at Noah Pittman, the great running back, 127 per game, 23 touchdowns on the season. As he goes, so goes this Mitchell team. I think that's why a lot of people want to see the Mitchell East Surrey matchup, because it is such contrast in styles that you would see there offensively between these two teams. Swain County, again, the Maroon Devils, a great history there as a program, but I do like Mitchell at home in this one. I really do.
And when you're speaking of that, you're talking about Swain County, 8-time state champions, so they know how they've been there. They've done that. Can you go on the road? And I don't know why we're sticking with all the home teams so far, except for me. I took Thomas Jefferson. But I'm going to go with Mitchell also. I think this is another one of those games that's going to be tied into the fourth quarter. And I got a feeling that Mitchell's going to come out on top 31-28.
So if it would come down to Mitchell East Surrey, obviously I agree with you, Rob. It would be a clash of different offenses. One wants to keep the ball on the ground, do a lot of clock control. The other one, they want to move the ball, hit the big play in East Surrey. So who comes out on top of that? Because a lot of the times, a lot of the teams, to nullify a high-powered offense, they want to keep them off the field by holding on to the ball as much as they can.
And I think, guys, when you see a team like East Surrey, when we start getting into a potential game like that, I think you start looking at things like weather conditions. What are you having to play in? I mean, if you're running that style that East Surrey's running right now, there's a lot of things that can factor into that. I think if all things are equal, East Surrey still, I think, is the favorite, I think, to win the whole thing in 1AA. But again, you keep an eye on things like that. Mitchell, if they can run the ball, if it's those two teams, it all comes down to clock management, which I think we're going to talk a lot about in some of these other games coming up later.
And we was speaking of that, and I go back to a game a few weeks back when West Lincoln was playing Maiden, and West Lincoln kept it for 6 minutes and 50 seconds at the end of the game, and everybody was like, score, score. Coach Ponder knew better than that. Let's not give it and get a kickoff to them. Let's keep the ball. Let's just fall down right here and let the clock run.
Well, one of the teams that we'll talk about later, I witnessed that last week when I went and saw Kings Mountain playing against Statesville. Statesville was undefeated on the season, and everything I had heard from the people that I had talked to when we showed up at the stadium was, watch out for our offense. We got a high-powered offense here at Statesville. And we know that Kings Mountain's got one too, but what did they do? They ran the ball down their throat and controlled the clock the whole time. The defense played very well and was up into Statesville, but clock management is a real thing. They always talk about the NFL and the college game. It's all going to if you can throw the ball. You got to throw the ball 40, 50 times again. I'm telling you, I think the run game is just doesn't need to be slept on.
And I tell you guys, I think one thing, when you get to this part of the season and this part of the playoffs, you really got to start digging down into schedules and start looking at what teams have done. When I looked at what that Statesville team had done coming into that game, I was convinced they'd not seen the team that Kings Mountain had seen. A lot of their fans talking about, well, we'd seen 6 teams that win the playoffs. But then you start looking at that, but there were 16 seeds and 15 seeds and things like that. And I look at Kings Mountain, and they played 2 1s and a 3. And, you're going up and down. You're talking about all these high seeds. And I think now we're getting to that point now where if you've played that schedule, you're not surprised by anything you see in the playoffs. I think Statesville got caught off guard by what Kings Mountain brought to the table that night.
And you also have to look at how many other teams like Kings Mountain are a number 10.
I was about to say, I think a lot of these teams in AC Reynolds better not do it tonight. Look at that piece of paper and say, this is a 10 seed. This is probably the most dangerous 10 seed the state of North Carolina has seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
And with that, we have finished up the one single A and one double A matchups. When we come back, we'll dive into the 2A, 2 double A matchups. But we are going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show here on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
At Brown & Howell Cosmetic Dentistry in Shelby, their goal is to bring smiles to life. And by doing so, you get the best in dental care. Brown & Howell Dentistry serves all of your family needs, including implant services. And they participate in Cigna, Delta Dental, United Healthcare, and MetLife Insurance Companies. And senior citizens get a 10% discount, and it applies to a list of services, including invisible braces. Call 704-484-0611 for your appointment. Brown & Howell Cosmetic Dentistry, 1210 East Marion Street in Shelby.
If you're not bundling your insurance with Allstate, you might have fear of missing out, or FOMO.
You're too old to say FOMO.
But people who don't bundle their auto and home with Allstate...
No, FOMO's about fun stuff, not insurance.
But what if people use the money they save to pay for that fun stuff?
Okay, fine.
Your local Allstate agent is Damon Scott. Give him a call at 704-484-3463.
Switching to Allstate is worth it.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Gamble's Auto Service at 104 South DeKalb Street in Uptown Shelby is your one-stop service center for repair work on your auto. Locally owned and operated since 1980, they offer light and medium automotive repair on all types of vehicles. Bill Gamble and his friendly staff can do state inspections, minor engine repair work, brakes, air conditioning, and heating service, timing belts, tune-ups, and oil changes, and lubrication. And now Gamble sells new and used tires. Stop by and let Gamble's Auto Service take care of your automotive repairs and servicing. That's Gamble's Auto Service, 104 South DeKalb Street, Uptown Shelby. Call 704-487-5079. You know, facts just don't lie. And here are the facts about Fastway Oil Change in Shelby. Fact number 1, Fastway Oil Change has been in business for over 28 years. Fact number 2, the employees at Fastway Oil Change have over 98 years of combined experience. And fact number 3, in those 28 years, over 500,000 customers have been served. Those are the facts. Find out why people keep coming back to Fastway Oil Change. Fastway Oil Change, 630 South Lafayette Street in Shelby. Let Fastway Oil Change do the dirty work for you. It's the best time of the year to buy a new mower from Elliott Supply Company in Polkville. Now, for a limited time, Elliott Supply Company in Polkville is having a year-end closeout sale on in-stock mowers. With name brands like Husqvarna and Skag, you'll get the best deal of the year. Again, in-stock Husqvarna and Skag mowers are at year-end sale prices now. So hurry on in and save big money. Only at Elliott Supply Company, 2301 West Stagecoach Trail, Highway 182 in Polkville. At Carolina Federal Credit Union in Cherryville, they treat you like family because you are. Making the most of your money starts by managing and growing your money. Come by Carolina Federal Credit Union in Cherryville and learn how you can protect your money and actions you can take. Plus, they can provide you with hints and tips. Learn more by visiting their website at carolinafcu.org or drop by their office at 1200 East Church Street in Cherryville. Become part of their family today.
Is the cost of ink driving your profits down? Then listen up. Discount Ink Jet and Toner is here to help. Discount Ink Jet and Toner specializes in refilling ink jet and toner cartridges. Cut your ink costs by as much as 50% or more. Discount Ink Jet and Toner, located on 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
You hear them pads going click, 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 click. You hear them clicks going tap, 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 tap. 704 beats by Alex J. Yeah. First and 10. We in the trenches. You like the water cooler. You be on the benches. Think your team better, but they lack skill. First snap, I lay your backs in the backfield.
We're back. Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Rob Root. We've got Terry Reinhardt. I guess Shannon decided that he didn't want to hang out with us tonight, guys. Well, that means his food's up for grabs. Thanks, Shannon. All right. With that, we just finished looking at the one single A and the one double A games that are happening tonight in the playoffs. Again, this is the third round of the playoffs. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Hope everybody that's listening had a great Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Think about it. You got to watch football yesterday. Get to watch football tonight. Got a bunch of games tomorrow. It's rivalry week for college football. And we got a big game tomorrow, or Sunday. Big game. So we got football 4 or 5 days straight. You got to love it. You got to love it. Now, I said we were going to go to 2A, but a lot of the games we're covering tonight are 2A. And I like to save those games for last. That's what people call, in our business, they're cliffhangers. You got to listen to the full show to get to what you really want. Everybody wants to hear about the games we're talking about or we're covering tonight, so you got to stick around. You can't exit early. You might miss something. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump to some of the 3A matchups. Now, we're covering one 3A game tonight, one 3A game, so we'll go over the 2 3AAs and the other 3A. So I'll start with Watauga and Mount Tabor. It's a 3AA matchup. Watauga has had a fantastic season. That is a household name here on the western part of North Carolina. I'm going to go with Rob here. Rob, does Watauga continue to roll and continue with this great season they're having?
I think so. It's interesting, guys. You talk about a program that completely reversed its fortunes. I can remember when Crest first went to the Northwestern 4A so many years ago, and Watauga was a laughing stock. I mean, you knew you were going to put 50 on the board. There were several times I saw Crest put 50 on the board in the first half, and you just keep going. And to see how they've changed that program, but I think that goes back to the growth that you've seen up in that area with what Appalachian's doing and how that area has exploded up there now. They do a great job up there. Again, another team that can run the football well. Yeah, football town, exactly. Mount Tabor has, again, a program with great history, but I like this Watauga team. Again, here we are talking about home teams again, but that's a long trip for Mount Tabor to make is to head up the mountain. Again, I like Watauga at home, but I'll be honest, guys, and I know we're going to talk about this game in just a minute, everybody's playing for second place when we talk about the 3AA.
And, you know, telling the truth, you are probably telling the truth. And that's how I'm going to put that. But
there you go, Terry.
We're just talking about Mount Tabor and Watauga right now. But Mount Tabor comes in 9-4, Watauga 12-1. They're all led by Anderson, the quarterback. He does it through the air. He does it through running. He does everything Coach needs him to do. This is the 17th appearance for Watauga in it. They're 17-16. They scored 636 points this year, gave up 242. They are a one-time state champion way back in 1978. Mount Tabor, though, when you think of tradition, and I'm glad you said that, Mount Tabor is strong every year. And if you're talking about when you get this far in the playoffs, you're going to face somebody who is there every year, and that's what Mount Tabor is. But I'm like Rob, I don't know whether they can go up the mountain and win up there, you know, and I'm going to go with Watauga at home. And I know we shouldn't keep saying them home teams have got the home field advantage, but I'm going to take Watauga to win this one 42-21.
Well, I have no problem choosing the home teams for advantage. You know, if this was something where Vegas was to look at it, home team usually gets 3 points.
And I think, guys, especially when you start breaking down some of these matchups right now, it's rare. And I think we talk about how Kings Mountain's been misseeded without a doubt because of the way it shakes out. But I think when you start looking at the rest of these matchups, I think the seedings have turned out pretty well.
Yeah.
With kind of what we'd expect for the home teams in these games.
Did you have something? I thought you were going to say something.
No, I'm good. Only thing I was going to say, we're talking about home field.
Yeah.
And which is NFL-wise. If you take Thursday night, Sunday night, and and one other night, I'm thinking, and what other night do we play on in NFL? Monday night football. But those games from home field to away teams are only separated by one game. The home team has an advantage of only one win.
I think, but Watauga is not going to be an easy out at all, and basically because it is going to be such a drive up there. Let's not forget, this is up near Boone, and it is still November in Boone. And it might be kind of nice down here, but we're not up the mountain. Even it might be a nice 40 degrees down here. It might be a nice 29, low 30 up at Watauga tonight. I like Watauga in this game as well. It's a little football town. They got Watauga to root for, and they got the Appalachian State having a great year.
Yes, sir.
They got a lot to root for up there. And now we go to the team that you said basically everybody's chasing in the 3AA as Weddington and Northwest Cabarrus will face off tonight. Terry, basically, is this Weddington's game to lose?
Yeah, and I think Shannon spoke with somebody from up in our area that coaches Northwest Cabarrus.
Yeah, Brandon Gentry.
There you go. But they're 12-1 on the year, but this is a task. You're on the road at defending state champion Weddington. Weddington all of a sudden has changed everything. I remember when I go back a few years, and Weddington was down at South Point, and South Point had lost their quarterback, and Weddington knocked them off to beat them one year. And now I go back, and I'm like, well, see how far this program has come along since Weddington's come along. This will be tough, and I got a feeling Weddington's going to come out on top. I'm going to go 45-28 over Northwest Cabarrus.
Northwest Cabarrus is a team, a lot of great athletes. I think Brandon Gentry's one of the young up-and-coming coaches in the state of North Carolina with what he's done at the stops he's had. But you talk about this Weddington program, you talk about a player like Will Shipley. If you've not had a chance to see this young man play, it is just incredible. And when they step on the field, guys, and I've had a chance to see them play a few times, it's almost like there's a factory at Weddington that they said, here's how you make football players, and they just crank them out.
Yeah.
And they're all the same, like they're all 6'1", 6'2", 200-pound players. And, guys, the thing about that area. And
they look like they could play on Saturdays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I was talking to somebody. A lot of those kids in areas like that now, in the Weddingtons, Marvin Ridges, places like that, we talk about specializing in sports, and we see kids with baseball and all this, but now they're starting to do that in football as well, especially areas like that. They're bringing in, the personal trainers to come in. I think Anthony Boone's one of the guys, of course, played at Weddington. He's come in now, and kids are going to see him, and you're starting to see that translate into that program. The interesting thing here, guys, is going to be the next realignment when this area is growing so fast, it's exploded population-wise. I think you start to see Weddington bump up to the 4A ranks, especially if the state goes to 5 classifications. Again, Weddington, I think they win this one going away. I'm not sure it's going to be close. This is for me personally, Weddington is the best team in the state of North Carolina right now, regardless of classifications. And I know there's some great teams. I know, and we'll get into them here in a minute. The 4A ranks, that Richmond County team, Myers Park, and those squads. But for my money, Weddington is the best team right now in the state of North Carolina.
Well, you heard it here first. Rob said it.
Yeah,
we're going to take that one to the bank.
I like them. I like them.
So Weddington, we're looking at possibly a WW matchup. We got Weddington and Watauga. If that comes down to that game, is it? Now I know you said everybody's basically playing for second place, but would it be close?
Nope.
You think Weddington would roll them?
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't either. They are such a special team this year.
All right. So that's the 3 AA matchups. We'll go to the only 3A game that we're not covering. There's we're covering the other one. But last year's champions, Charlotte Catholic, that's a name you hear every year. Everybody knows who Charlotte Catholic is on the western part of North Carolina and the eastern part of North Carolina. They will be facing West Rowan. I'm going to go right back to Rob. Does Charlotte Catholic continue the dominance that they've shown for years? They're almost like the 3A version of Shelby these past few years. They're just dominant in the name. They're there every year.
It's interesting, guys. This West Rowan team really struggled to start the year. You look at what they were doing, and then their starting running back got hurt. They took their best receiver, moved him to running back, and that's when this run started. Had a chance to see West Rowan last week against Crest, and when their offensive line walks out on the field, you're thinking NFL. Look, I mean, you were talking 6'4", 6'5", 285, 290 linemen. And then you got a tailback who stands about 5'7", looks like Barry Sanders sliding behind his offensive line and reappearing on the other side. And the kid's one of the hardest runners I've seen. A lot of people have forgotten about this Catholic team, and because they see the 3 losses.
Yeah.
And to me, guys, this speaks of how good that Weddington team is. Beat Catholic 45-0 in that game. The only other 2 losses for Catholic on the year came to Our Lady of God Council.
Yeah.
They beat them 7-0. They're ranked number 9 in the country. They also got beat by Archbishop Rummel. They lost that game 7-3. They're ranked they're 70th in the country, number 1 in the state of Louisiana. So you start digging into schedules. You look at those 3 losses. To me, I'm not convinced Catholic. And I know we talked about Kings Mountain as the 10 seed and that AC Reynolds team at home. Catholic may be the best team still in 3A before it's said and done. Like I said, with the way they're challenged, I like Catholic again at home. You talk about a difficult place to play.
Oh, yes.
Man, you go to Catholic.
It's a difficult place to play, but it's one of the nicest places in Charlotte to go. It's
nice.
beautiful.
It's a beautiful place to go. The fans are right on top of you.
Yes.
Man, it is a great environment.
It's almost like that's what UNC Charlotte is hoping to be as a college.
Yes,
the atmosphere at Charlotte Catholic is what UNC Charlotte is hoping their program can get to. And that's a high school. That's a high school. And that's and I'm saying it's very pretty. When I went over there last year when Kings Mountain went there, that was my first time ever going. I said, wow, this is a nice facility.
Yes.
Really nice. Go ahead, Terry.
Well, it's a game here that West Rowan comes in 94 against Catholic 93. 22nd appearance for West Rowan. They're 35-18. For Charlotte Catholic, their 36th appearance, they're 77-27. But the big deal with this team that I would tell everybody every year, Charlotte Catholic does not beat themselves.
Never.
You know, and that thing, to me, that is very huge. You're not going to see fumbles. You're not going to see interceptions. They don't do none of that. Hardly ever does that happen.
That's what was shocking with that 45-0 win by Weddington. Because, again, talking about a team that's not going to beat themselves, Weddington's the same way. So that was 2 teams that just do what they do in that game. And Weddington still put 45 points on the board against them. which is impressive to me.
Yes, but I'm like Rob on this one. I'm taking Charlotte Catholic playing at home. I think they continue to move on. And we talk about Weddington. I'm the same way through this 3A. You got to go through them to get there.
So we're speaking about how Charlotte Catholic, both of you have chosen to obviously to beat West Rowan. Does the road to the championship go through Charlotte Catholic when it comes to, like, do they even have do they have a chance of getting past the next round, regardless who wins the Kings Mountain AC Reynolds matchup? Would you say that they would be favored?
I think it's similar to what we know with Shelby. I think Catholic's the kind of program you've got to take the title away from them.
Yeah,
okay,
and that's going to be the key.
Okay, I understand. All right, I don't know if Calvin wants us to take a break when we're done with this 3As. I could go right to, there we go.
Hey,
I have to ask sometimes. You never know. He come running out here. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go over the 2A games, and then we get to dive into the meat of things, what everybody wants to hear, the games we will be having on our stations. We'll be back with more Witherspoon Insurance pregame show here on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price, with names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
It's the 3rd annual Small Business Expo, and you're invited this Saturday, November 30th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the James W. Warren Citizen Center in Lincoln, sponsored by Turner Hauser Insurance Group. There will be 60 vendors, and Santa Claus will be there from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m., and photos will be available for purchase. The event is open to the public with no admission fee, all hosted by Wendy Peeler. And join Tim Johnson and Ken Link for a live all-day broadcast on The Boss, WLON 107.5 FM and 1050 AM. They'll be broadcasting live from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. So make plans to be there. The 3rd annual Small Business Expo at the James W. Warren Citizen Center, 115 West Main Street in Lincoln, sponsored by Turner Hauser Insurance Group. Again, it's free, and the best part, you're invited. You know that Cleveland Community College is a great place for learning and training opportunities. But did you know that it's now a great place for athletics? Come see our first softball team in action this spring. Games are free to attend. And don't forget, Cleveland Community College offers degrees, diplomas, and certificates for more than 50 programs, including allied health, welding, plumbing, carpentry, broadcasting, and our new Culinary Arts Academy. Cleveland Community College, home of the Yetis. We're fierce, stealthy, and a bit mysterious too. As you decorate this holiday season, focus on creating holiday memories that will last a lifetime. Come into Holly's Flowers and experience a traditional and non-traditional array of holiday decor and gifts. Holly's carries garlands, wreaths, topiaries, lanterns, angel wings, tree ornaments, and many more items that will spark your memories of Christmas past. Come shop at Holly's Flowers and let them help you bring back the memories. Holly's Flowers, 109 East Graham Street in Uptown Shelby. Call 704-487-1220.
The foot doctors of choice for many in this area are Doctors Jeff Mooney and Rama Skarnick at Foothills Podiatry. In fact, people come to Foothills Podiatry from miles around for gentle but state-of-the-art foot care. Our staff truly cares about your needs. You can expect top-notch medical and surgical care from a staff dedicated to quality service. Whether a repeat patient or a new one, come see us soon at Foothills Podiatry, 707 North Morgan Street in Shelby.
Foothills Podiatry is proud to welcome Dr. Gretchen Lawrence to their practice. Do you have low or fluctuating water pressure? Maybe your pump runs continuously. Is your electric bill too high? Or maybe you even have dirty water. If you have any of those issues, then you need to call the Well Doctor for a free inspection. That number is 704-909-9258. The Well Doctor is the best of the best winner and features 24-hour emergency service with a 5-star rating and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. and best of all, free estimates. Call the Well Doctor, family owned and operated. Again, that number is 704-909-9258 for the Well Doctor. Online at welldoctor.biz.
Country Gold with Terry Clark.
I'm Terry Clark, inviting you to join me for Country Gold, where we play your favorites from the 80s and 90s. My guest this week is Dwight Yoakam. He was just inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame. He talks about his incredible career in country music, including his friendships with Buck Owens, Roger Miller, and Larry Gatlin. That's Dwight Yoakam on Country Gold with Terry Clark.
Country Gold with Terry Clark, Thursday afternoons at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
When you need a little fun in your life.
Time to get this party started.
The Boss, 101.5 FM, 1390 AM, WOHS, Shelby.
Yeah. You hear them pads going click, 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 click. You hear them clicks going tap, tap, tap. 704 beats by Alex. Yeah.
Back here, Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. We've gone over some 3A, 3AA matchups, some 1A, 1AA matchups. Now it's time to get in the middle, the 2A matchups. We're going to start with the West Stokes Mountain Heritage matchup. I'll go ahead and give this one to Terry, and then we'll go to Rob. Terry, what do you think about this West Stokes Mountain Heritage game?
Well, I know if people listen to me the last few weeks, I always talk about Mountain Heritage. That's a tough place to go play, up on a mountain, down in a hole, to go to their football field. But I love it up there. To me, I'd go there and watch a football game every week if I lived up there. But West Stokes comes in 10-3 against Mountain Heritage, 11-1. Mountain Heritage is going to keep the ball on the ground. You're going to have to stop them. It's going to be run after run after run. Every now a little swing pass to try to open something up, but then they right back to the run. This is a game West Stokes. Hey, West Stokes has been to the 2A championship before. You know, so, I mean, you can't say they have never been there. They have. Mountain Heritage has too. But they both come in. Mountain Heritage scored 321 points, gave up 100. West Stokes 430, gave up 147. When you think of it, though, and here I am again, I'm staying at home. I think Mountain Heritage will knock West Stokes off, and I'm going to go 35-21, Mountain Heritage.
Yeah, if you're going to this game, you were probably done in an hour. Because both these teams are going to be running the football. You're not going to see, like Terry said, just a little enough passing to keep somebody honest is what you're going to see in this one. But again, a wonderful environment. You want to talk about the great environments of high school football in North Carolina. Mountain Heritage is without a doubt one of those spots where if you've got a bucket list of places to visit high school football-wise in North Carolina, Mountain Heritage is one of those places you want to go. I'm going to tell you, I think Mountain Heritage is home. And I think they end up winning going away. I think maybe this game stays close early, but I think Mountain Heritage just enforces their will upon that West Stokes team, and they win it.
Well, I have been hearing everything out of Terry about Mountain Heritage. It's one of the best places to go and see football games, so I might have to make a stop up there whenever I'm not here.
Yes.
So we'll have to look at that
Nice
one
little
day.
ride.
Nice little ride.
It
there
is.
you go. Brevard and Reedsville. That's another name that is a household name in the state of North Carolina. Reedsville. Let's go back over here to Rob. Does Reedsville continue to be that dominant team that everybody knows who they are?
I think so. We talk about history, teams that are always there, countless, hands and feet championship numbers that to count them all. The thing I like about this Reedsville team, and we've not talked a whole lot in so far tonight, Reedsville defense has been pretty stout this year. I like them defensively. Hey, give Brevard credit. That to me, that was a team, guys, and a program that had been such a great program. Really started to slide off as you started seeing some of the jobs leave that area up there. It's good to see them get themselves back on the map.
Yeah.
But I start digging into schedules, and I look at those two losses for Brevard. I think they've lost to the best teams they've seen. This will be the best team they've seen all year. And I think Reedsville wins this one handily tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and when you got this, Brevard comes in 11-2. They are a one-time state champion back in 1998, but they're against a Reedsville team when they pull up all them little banners around that place. Salute you as you come 20-time state champion, 5-time runner-up. But that's their 32nd appearance. They come in 75, 25, and 1. And you talk about defense, they've only gave up 104 points all year, and they're very fast. And one thing that's interesting about this team is when they have a team coming in that they know that they can beat, they will talk to you, your coaches, your players, everybody, as you arrive on the field. Like, this is our place. Hope y'all have a nice drive home, but this game be over in just a little bit. But, yes, I'm staying with Reidsville also, and I think this will be a game that will be blown out early, and it will be over early. I got 42-14, Reidsville.
And when we're talking about that defense and the amount of points they've given up this year, a majority of those came to that East Surrey team.
Yes, 55 of them.
Yeah, you pull those 55 points out, and you look at what they've done defensively against everybody else they've seen this year. Incredible.
That's exactly right.
Well, that wraps up all of the games that we will not be covering tonight. And now we get to go to the games that we're covering tonight. I leave at 6:30, so you guys might have to go in depth on some of them after I leave because you got a whole nother 30 minutes. You ain't got to listen to me. You two can just go at it back and forth, which is fine by me. But I want to touch on this game while I'm here, so I'm gonna go here first. The 2AA matchup that we will be here. I'll just go ahead and list the games that we're covering. If you didn't already know, we're doing the North Lincoln hosting the Burns Bulldogs playoff game. The Shelby Golden Lions hosting the West Lincoln Rebels, and AC Reynolds will be hosting Kings Mountain. That's the 3A matchup we'll be having. So the two AAs and one 3A game. I want to touch on the North Lincoln Burns Bulldogs game because I've been hearing a whole lot of nonsense being spoken about North Lincoln, and those boys, Kerry Miller and them, would not love it if I didn't go to bat for North Lincoln, all the guys up there at the Fat Boy Club at North Lincoln. But I will say this, I have seen both teams play. So I'll go ahead and start with Rob. What is your initial thoughts about the Burns Bulldogs and North Lincoln Knights? Of course, we'll go in depth because we got time. We've got a lot of time. We can go in depth on these games. So, but initial thoughts on this game.
This is the best game on the board tonight. I believe
agree.
it. I believe it is the
I
best
agree.
game on the board tonight. With everything we've talked about, this is going to be a fantastic matchup between these two squads, without a doubt.
Yeah. Here.
This is a game that when I look at it, everybody talks about North Lincoln has no chance. You know, and don't get me wrong, Cleveland County, you've got great football teams year in, year out.
Yeah.
This team from North Lincoln is a good team. And they not just beat people, they beat people soundly all year long. So, I mean, you know, and you got a team that's only gave up 134 points all year, and some people can say, well, that's who you play. It is. I agree. But it's not the point that they beat them. It's the point, again, they beat them soundly. And those are the things that I look at. You know, you go back to what they do. They lost to Parkland at the start of the year. Hunter, you were there in overtime, and this was a team that was in the playoffs. But
and in 3A,
it was.
Let's not forget, it wasn't just a 2A matchup. That was it. They went a step up, played a 3A team, and only lost in overtime. And I was there. It was only because of it was just bad play calling. That was what they lost that game in overtime for. They called the same fullback dive 3 plays in a row from the 3-yard line, and it just didn't give. So
and you've got 2 coaches, Devine and Basil, who are good at what they do. And Basil, to me, is one of the best coaches at halftime to change stuff up. I saw him do things against West Lincoln that has absolutely stopped West Lincoln. You know, and West Lincoln was up at halftime, had a chance to make it more, and you got the ball to start the second half. Could have made that game over with, but things that Basil did at halftime stopped West Lincoln from what they were doing. And, you know, this is a game, if you have nothing else to do and you don't know what game you're going to, this is where I would be at North Lincoln.
Yeah, guys, we're talking about this Burns team, and again, talking about schedules. If I'm Burns from the other side, I've got 2 losses on the year.
Yeah.
And that's the 2 teams that have a really good shot at winning state titles in Kings Mountain and Shelby.
Right.
I know we talk about Q1 Pryor, and here's my comparison with him, guys. I remember watching Goo White at Lincoln.
Yeah.
And watched how he put that team on his back. I believe it was the 94 state championship team. Q1 Pryor is playing at that level right now for Burns. That's where, if I'm the Bulldogs, I'm excited about that I have a kid on my team now that I say, get on my back, guys, we're going to go. Also, though, I think there's been so much focus put on Q1 that a lot of people forgetting. To me, the difference in Burns this year and last year is the play of Cameron Sweezy.
He can throw it.
Yeah, you're talking about a sophomore quarterback last year that struggled turning the ball over. He has become much better this year as a junior to manage the game. Defensively, though, it becomes a concern for me if I'm Burns. What have you struggled with this year?
The run.
Teams that run the football.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, I think we could end up with a shootout in this one before it's said and done. I think North Lincoln is going to move the ball. I think they're going to move it successfully. They're going to put points on the board. But I think Burns will have something for North Lincoln as well on their side of things. Guys, we could be talking about a game. It comes down to special teams. You know, do you turn the ball over?
I think it's going to come down to the turnover battle.
Yeah, are you turnover? And, guys, let's be honest. That yellow flag, when we get this far in the season, it takes one or two, and it changes the game.
Mm-hmm.
For me, being a Cleveland County guy, I want to pick the Bulldogs, but I think North Lincoln being at home they're gonna have the advantage there. I think that's going to be the difference. You know, they win about a 7 to 8 point game victory for North Lincoln would not surprise me tonight.
I will give Coach Devine a lot of credit. Last week, what was it? He rushed the ball 42 times. 42 times. So somewhere along the line, Coach Devine said, "We're on you, buddy. You take us to where we got to go."
And it's interesting, guys, if you and have talked to a lot of people, Kewan had a chance this year to shatter Cleveland County records, not just break them. It was there to shatter. And there were games he was only getting 2 or 3 carries because Burns was getting up so fast on the likes of East Gaston and East Rutherford and those kind of schools. So they were pulling him out. So it's not like they've had to ride Kewan all year.
Oh, no.
So he's fresh coming in as well. So I think it's going to be, again, interesting to see North Lincoln's game plan to slow down Kewan. I'm really excited to see what Coach Basil has. I love Coach Basil as a head coach. You look at what he's done everywhere he's been.
Oh, yeah.
And what he's done now for this North Lincoln program. Man, that is some exciting thing. You talk about programs that I know that are on the up.
Yeah.
North Lincoln is a program.
They say the middle school teams bought into it as well. They're having great success at the middle school.
Those are the head coaches I love that are willing to go down and talk to their middle schools and their young feeder programs. To me, that's what has always made South Point so deadly. Is those kids are buying in from the time they can pick up a football.
Yeah.
And Coach Basil's is that kind of coach, and that's what he's going to do for North Lincoln.
And this is one of the things too, as well, Coach Basil, to have this success so fast. This is only the second year there.
Right.
Let's not forget, last year they had a great year, finished second in the conference. They made the playoffs. I think they made it past the first round though. They lost to Bandy's played high. They lost to Shelby. No, who was it that they lost to?
I think they
year?
won the first 2 games. Did they not last year?
I think they did. I think they did. Either way, they're in a very similar position this year.
Right.
They obviously won the conference this year. What it comes down to me is I've seen both of these teams play. North Lincoln obviously more than Burns. Burns is killer on the home run ball. They hit the big play like no other team I've seen this year because of the speed that Pryor brings, because Cameron Sweezy, when a play action comes out, everybody's focused on Pryor, and he can hit one of the speedy receivers on the edge. You know, Degree's got such speed out of the slot position for Burns. But this is where, when I asked you earlier when we talked about East Surrey, Robbinsville, the clash of different offenses, North Lincoln will know what they're going to do. They're going to come out here and play the option. And they're going to put the ball on the ground, and they'll only throw the ball if they need to. They like to hit the tight end running down the seam if everybody's cheating up on the run game. I think North Lincoln has a better shot than people give them on the fact that I think North Lincoln's going to control clock.
Kewan Pryor can't beat me if he's standing on the sideline.
That's
exactly right.
And that's going to be
if North Lincoln controls clock and all they have to do is get one stop,
right,
then that's North Lincoln's game. But the hard part is they got to get that stop. Because like we can all agree, Burns is with Sweezy developing in his throwing, it's just made them more deadly. Because you already have to worry about, unless you got to worry about Pryor, but Sweezy can move too.
Yeah, he can.
And here's my question, and guys, I know this is one part where I've not seen with North Lincoln, and I know you guys can enlighten me as far as their kicking game.
Good.
And that's important because I've seen many teams that have not been able to kick deep, or if they do kick deep, they're not getting to the end zone, which is allowing Kewan a chance to return the football.
Now, of course,
or they're having to pooch, and Burns is going 60 yards.
Now, of course, the kicking game, just straight off kickoffs after touchdowns, it goes far. But don't let them fool you. They haven't had to, but if they need to run them out there on a 4th down, they'll kick the ball.
Right.
And I think that can become a difference, too, especially if they're not afraid to put the kid out there and say, hey, we're not letting points go away. We got to get these points. And I think this is a game, like you said, that's going to come down to that. So I agree with you, and I think Terry's the same way. This is the best game on the board.
It sure
and
is.
that's no offense, of course, to your Rebels. But the clash between two different offenses and these brilliant head coaches, It's going to be smart. And I've heard a lot of this. Burns is too fast and too athletic for North Lincoln. I don't want people to be fooled. North Lincoln might have a bunch of country boys out there. They're country strong, but they are athletic too. Don't get it twisted, people. If you've not seen North Lincoln play, they shock you. I said this last Saturday. I have a buddy of mine, fellow classmate. He's a defensive line coach this year for Newton Conover. He said when North Lincoln got on the field before they played, he said, I was not expecting that size. And when they started to play, he said, I was not expecting them to be that fast. So they're sneaky good. It's just, to me, I think it comes down to who wins the turnover battle. And if North Lincoln can control the clock, I think that's what it comes down to.
Guys, a name for me to just throw out there for North Lincoln, and I think maybe we keep an eye on it, that maybe we don't notice. What about a player like Whitley? If you're able to, if you have to put the ball in the air, is he, he's the kind of guy that you're able to go to that Burns is going to have to account for if you're able to force North Lincoln to do something out of their norm, I would say, in this game.
And Rob, I'm glad you said that, because when I think of this game, it's going to be somebody else who makes a play that all of a sudden we have. I mean, he's made plays all year, but this is a game when he's going to prove his name.
Yeah, I think the two names, and I had them both in my notes, was Whitley for North Lincoln, and I think KJ Leslie for Burns are the two guys that can be difference makers that we've not talked a lot about in this game. Those will be the two to watch out for in this one.
I think the one also to watch for North Lincoln, he's only a junior, but he's huge. Trevally Price on the defensive line. He's 6'5", and the kid's got a motor. If he can get back there when they're trying to run play actions and get to Sweezy early, get in his head a little bit, that could make Burns almost one-dimensional. I know they don't mind that with Pryor, but that might take away an edge to their game.
And that was the thing last year that Sweezy struggled with, was when teams started getting pressure on. That's when you started seeing the turnovers.
Yeah.
He's kind of eliminated that this year. But if you, like you said, if you can get in those situations where you're putting the pressure on him, putting Burns in those third and long situations where he gets a chance to get out there and really go after Sweezy, could definitely be a difference maker.
That's what, and I think we're all in agreement here, and I'm glad we are, because I think this is going to be a closer ball game than everybody wants to look at it. I know people are saying, oh, it's Cleveland County against everybody else, but this isn't just an everybody else team out of Lincoln County. With that, it's 6:30. I think we need to take a break. We do. When we come back, it's going to be the Terry Reinhardt and Rob Roop Show, because I have to go to Shelby. We will be back after these messages on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Nice weather out there today, but another system headed our way brings rain over the weekend. We'll have mostly cloudy skies tonight. It stays dry with temperatures in the upper 30s. Mostly cloudy skies Saturday. Some showers possible as we get toward the afternoon, continuing into the evening. Highs will stay in the mid to upper 40s. And then rain is likely on Sunday. High temperature Sunday will climb into the low 60s. For the North Carolina News Network, I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
Currently from the KTC Broadcasting Studios, it's
6:28 and the temperature is 51 degrees.
It's the third annual Small Business Expo, and you're invited this Saturday, November 30th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the James W. Warren Citizen Center in Lincoln, sponsored by Turner Hauser Insurance Group. There will be 60 vendors, and Santa Claus will be there from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m., and photos will be available for purchase. The event is open to the public with no admission fee. All hosted by Wendy Peeler. And join Tim Johnson and Ken Link for a live all-day broadcast on The Boss, WLON, 107.5 FM and 1050 AM. They'll be broadcasting live from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. So make plans to be there. The third annual Small Business Expo at the James W. Warren Citizen Center, 115 West Main Street in Lincoln. Sponsored by Turner Hauser Insurance Group. Again, it's free, and the best part, you're invited.
In Cleveland County, you might see me at a local sporting event, the Cleveland County Fair. We might cross paths at the grocery store or at the next benefit. I'm your local Farm Bureau insurance agent, your local professional when it comes to protecting what you love and depend on most. I'm Bert Costner. Call me at 704-482-2436 for a quick auto, home, or life insurance quote, and to learn more about how Farm Bureau Insurance can save you time and money. Be sure to ask for me, Bert Costner, 704-482-2436.
Call Bert Costner, your local Farm Bureau insurance agent, today. Is your car's windshield cracking you up? Well, you may need to see the windshield doctor. That's Carolina Auto Glass, located at 408 South Post Road in Shelby. Carolina Auto Glass goes the distance to ensure your safety and satisfaction. And they will handle all of your insurance claims too. Plus, free on-site estimates are available, and they do work on sunroofs. Just call 704-480-1885 for Carolina Auto Glass, 408 South Post Road in Shelby. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That's Carolina Auto Glass of Shelby.
Cherryville, you do have a heating and air conditioning company that will keep you comfortable in all kinds of weather. It's All American Heating and Cooling with over 40 years of experience. Joe Aker and his technicians at All American Heating and Cooling do residential and commercial, featuring Comfort Maker heat pumps, air conditioning and heating units, and more. Just call 704-734-0819. 704-734-0819 for All American Heating and Cooling, serving Cherryville and throughout Cleveland, Gaston, and Lincoln counties. That's All American Heating and Cooling. Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price, with names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
You hear them pads going click, 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 click. You hear them clicks going 704 beats by Alex. Yeah. First and 10. We in the trenches.
And welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. And folks, before we get into any more games, Terry, let's talk about Mitchum's Kitchen.
I'm gonna tell you what. Anytime you need some good food, whether it's breakfast, lunch, supper, whatever you want to call it, dinner. Some people call it all different things. But call Carol and Robin over there, 704-276-1155. They can furnish you with fish, hamburgers, hot dogs. I mean, anything that you need. They got chicken tenders. They got, even on Sunday, they got chicken that they have now that a lot of people are coming to Mitchum's to eat. So anytime you're over that way, give them a holler and get it to go home, or step in there. Last week when South Point was up there, I run into a lot of South Point people. That is, the first thing they told me was, hey, when we used to come in, everybody said go to Mitchum's Kitchen, and this is where we come to eat. And, you know, a lot of people from South Point. So, you know, give them a shot. 704-276-1155.
So, folks, that's Mitchum's Kitchen, Northbrook's finest in food, dine in or carry out. They do have a drive-through for you. You also can check them out online at mitchumskitchen.com. Well, Terry, we were breaking down the two AA ranks, and we got through that Burns North Lincoln matchup. Now let's move on to the Shelby Golden Lions taking on your West Lincoln Rebels. I tell you what, exciting times for West Lincoln. You talked about all the first for their program this year, but man, they've got a pretty big mountain to climb this Friday night.
Well, it's one of those things. Hey, they own the championship.
Right.
You got to go through them to get there, you know, and say whether it was us, whether it's North Lincoln, whether it's Burn or whoever, somebody's got to go through there. But when I went back, this team is 0-11 all time against Shelby. Haven't had a chance in any of the games that they've really played against them. But I'm glad we're playing on the road. We have played this team, and here are their sponsors for each one of them, Rob. You'll get to that in a minute. But I went back and checked out the history of these games. Like, again, they're 0-11. And when we have played Shelby at home, we have played them 4 times at home. Tell me how many points West Lincoln scored against Shelby 4 times.
Talk to me, Terry.
0. So I'm glad we're playing them at Shelby. We do score when we go over there. So, I mean, you know, people say, well, it's a bonus. We'd rather be playing home. I don't know whether we wanted to play at home or not. You know, because the games then, we got beat 34-0, 52-0, 57-0, and 50-0 in the 4 games that we played. But for West Lincoln, they come in here. They got Cannon Bridges in the backfield. He's 81 yards away from being the Lincoln County all-time rushing leader.
Wow.
He got a chance to Darius Dameron. He's got a chance to pass him. He's got 22.98 on the list coming in, but for Cannon, he's had a great last year, and especially this year. He had 253 plus 162 last week that he put in, and again, it's put him like 81 yards short of being the Lincoln County all-time rushing leader. So, for Shelby, I know they're looking at that. But don't forget the other back there, because Xander Pendergrass is a great young man, and he's very fast. And when you give him the ball, I mean, he turns little 2 and 3 yard gains into 15 and 20 yard gains. And Mason Hewitt, the quarterback, another guy. But I still think this game's going to be won, Rob, up at the line of scrimmage. If West Lincoln can have the ball kicked off to them, and we march it right down the field and score, and that's what you got to have, and you got to take time off. If we do like we did against Maiden, waste 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes of driving the ball down the field and score, we put Shelby in a tough situation, because we do not want to see their offense have time limits of how much time they're out there on the field, because we know that's dangerous for us. For us to play them, we keep setting back. I mean, I keep saying we got to play a zone. Man to man, there's no way that we can play with them. We know that. But if we play a zone, keep them in front of us, make them, maybe they throw a bad pass coming down the field and we can pick it off, or a fumble will help us, anything, But this is a big rock to climb, and we know that as we head over there.
Some interesting stats on Shelby, Terry, coming in. Shelby has not lost a home game to a 2A school, I believe, since 2012.
Yeah. It's
a ridiculous number there. I heard another stat, and it was something I had not thought about. There's about 400 male students at Shelby High School. 100 of those play football. So 1 out of every 4 male students at Shelby is on the football field. You start talking about those ratios, you're talking about 4A type numbers, what Shelby's producing as far as their players coming out. The thing I like about Shelby right now, they've gotten Fuller back healthy, and Omar Phillips, the sophomore, has really started playing on. So between the two of them, about 100 yards rushing per game. If Shelby's getting that on the night with the way they throw the ball, with what Best does as a quarterback, it can make a really long night. I had it, and I'm fortunate for me. I'm actually a school teacher. I actually had Jahari Mitchell and Devontae Daly both as kindergartners way back when. So I want to take a lot of credit on how good those guys play, Terry. It was from the teaching I gave them as 5-year-olds.
I hear you.
To get them ready.
Right.
But I think
it's got to start low.
That's right. It's got to start somewhere, exactly. But I tell you, the guy I think that's forgotten about for this Shelby offensively is Kamadre Husky, the junior. Everybody focuses so much on Mitchell and Daly and what they do from the wide receiver spot. Husky is a special, maybe a better athlete than either one of those guys. So I think you're going to have to account for him. Terry, I'm going to ask you this, and I was looking at some of West Lincoln stats. I've had a chance to see Shelby play 3 times this year live. I've of course not seen West Lincoln, but it looked like they have some guys having to go both ways.
They do.
Does that become an issue, especially late in this game against Shelby?
It was, I would say, at the start of the year, because West Lincoln, and they scored, like I said, they scored 556 points, a lot of points, most they've ever put up. But a lot of them guys have had a lot of rest period. And I think that helps now, because at the end of a lot of games in the third and fourth quarter, West Lincoln's had the game put away. Them guys sat over and they was not in the games.
Right.
And they had to get used to being in the games, and that's come along as the season has come along, and they've got used to that. Will it matter going both ways? It will matter to me with Shelby's passing.
Right.
Because that's going to come pretty much every time they step out there, And when you're having to track a guy or track another guy, you can play a zone, like I said, and keep them in there. The only problem I keep worrying about with Shelby is a guy catching it and then going 60 and 70 yards.
They're so good, Ted. You make a great point there. When you watch Shelby play, Best doesn't have to throw the ball 70 yards. When you start talking about yards after the catch with Mitchell, Daly, and Husky, they just want to get athletes out into space, get their balls get the ball into their hands, and they make things happen.
Exactly.
That's going to be very tough, I think, for West Lincoln.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, I hope West Lincoln, again, just like I said at the start of the show, all you have to do is be better tonight.
Right.
You could play them 10 times and lose 9 out of 10, which we're 0-11 against them. But, all you have to do is be better tonight. And these guys know this is the first time that they've went to play Shelby, and it's a team that's, hey, we've not gotten any respect. And I hear that coming out of their voice.
Right.
And that's a whole different game to me when you know that, and besides sitting back going, oh, no, man, we're having to play Shelby. I mean, you're already reading the name across the chest without saying we can play with them. And these guys think, I've got something to prove. And when we go over there, Coach Ponder, he's led this team to 10 victories his first year at West Lincoln, and what a job he has done to turn this program around like Coach Sane was doing in his tenure there. But I think you got to believe, and these guys do believe, that they can win.
I think without a doubt, if I'm West Lincoln, staying ahead of the chains tonight, because the thing that makes Shelby so dangerous, you find yourself a couple 3-and-outs back to back, and all of a sudden it's 14-0, and you've blinked, and that's how fast Shelby's able to get on the board. So if I'm West Lincoln, you talked about sustain those drives.
I remember a few years back, and I'm going back in 2006-07 when Coach Mark Hoover was coaching up there at West Lincoln, and we had to go to Shelby, and we played down, and he had the ball on our side of the field. We had 4th down and 1, and I'm talking from the 20-some yard line in the first quarter. He went for it. He got it. Next thing you know, we're at 4th down again, 4th and 2, and we're inside the 30-yard line. I'm going for it again, and he got it. But the only problem we had is all of a sudden we had to punt to them, and the guy goes 70 yards the other way for a touchdown.
Right. Yes,
I mean, that's how quick it can change.
Yeah, Shelby it seems like Shelby flips the field on you so fast that you got to be able to keep your momentum. Don't allow Shelby to have it back. And now let's be honest, Shelby can, and because I go back to that Kings Mountain game, they can have games where the pass doesn't work as well as they want it to, and that happened against Kings Mountain. I felt like Shelby abandoned the run a lot earlier, I felt like, than they should have had against Kings Mountain. I think if West Lincoln can force Shelby into that mentality of, well, we just can't run the football at all tonight, and maybe force Shelby to have to try to force a few passes.
Yeah.
Maybe the West Lincoln secondary, some of those linebackers that have to drop back into coverage, maybe they have a chance to make some things happen.
Well, I'm going to go over one thing for the West Lincoln coaches' first-year records. Billy Johnson back in 1962 was 3-7. Brennan Elliott come in 73, 2-7-1. Dennis Bird was at West Lincoln in 1974, 3-6-1. Wes Beam was 0-10 his first year. Dan Hardy in 1987 was 2-8. Harold Warren was 0-10 in 1990. Butch Parker come over there in 2002, went 1-10. Randall Gussler, the coach at Statesville now, went 3-9 his only year at West Lincoln. Mark Hoover, the guy I was just talking about, went 4-8 his first year. Mark Latham, former AD at Kings Mountain, went 1-10, and then it started changing. Coach Tom Sane come in 2010. They went 8-4, and Darren Ponder this year is 10-3 his first year there.
It's interesting. We talk about the state of two programs, and we talk about the first year for those coaches at West Lincoln and what they were trying to build to. Then I think about the tradition of Shelby, and I believe every coach they ever had, except for Will Banks, this has been his first year, has won a state title at Shelby.
Yeah.
So, you see the difference of two programs, but if you're West Lincoln, you are aiming. For me, and especially from the Cleveland County side of things, Shelby has always been the gold standard.
Yeah.
And if you can get to where you can beat a program consistently, you know that you've got something special. I think that's what happened to Crest when they started showing that they could play with the Shelby. Burns happens there, Kings Mountain. But I think for West Lincoln now, if you can start to show, even if they don't win tonight, if you're competitive in this game, you know the ship is in the right direction. The kids start to buy in, similar to what we talked about Basil and North Lincoln. The kids at West Lincoln start to buy in. The younger kids say, okay, I want to be a Rebel. When do I get my opportunity? I want to put that name across my chest. And that's what's going to be key tonight for West Lincoln. This is a building program type game tonight. I feel like for West Lincoln, you don't want to turn around and go the other direction because you've achieved so much this year. This is a chance to continue your program going the way you want it to go.
It was, and the kids last year when they first got the matchup, we got to go to Shelby. Did they think they could win? They believed they can, but then again, they knew Shelby was across that front and had a great year end early in round one last year. But this squad here has won 2 games. They into the 3rd round. They got to practice yesterday, first thing they ever done at West Lincoln. But, when I look at this, and we're talking about Shelby, 128, 39, and 5 all time in football in the playoff. 128. West Lincoln, 2-9, and both of them wins come this year.
That's amazing.
So if you're talking about a difference from, this is like David versus Goliath. you got to have something happen and hope it goes your way.
And we tell you, we got one more game in our coverage area tonight, one that we're going to have right here on KTC Broadcasting, and that's going back to the 3A ranks. We're talking about Kings Mountain as they travel up the mountain to AC Reynolds tonight. Terry, again, I think, we talked about North Lincoln Burns as our number one game, I think, across the board tonight. This game for me is if there's a 1A, I think we consider this game. I think this is a great game between two great programs.
I believe with you. You got Kings Mountain coming in 11-2 against AC Reynolds 11-2, and I know West Henderson was like, I don't know where that number 10 come from, and Statesville did the same thing last week. But AC Reynolds is on a different scale. They've been there, they've done that. They're a 3-time state champion. Last one coming in 2009. It's a program that lives, and this is their 29th appearance. They're 54-25. In the playoffs, where Kings Mountain comes in 29-21-2. Both of them almost, and this is what really got me. When you compare the two programs, Kings Mountain scored 587, AC Reynolds 585. When you go to defense, Kings Mountain gave up 144, AC Reynolds 142. When you put all that together, it's equal.
Wow.
Nothing is different in the two. So what will this be? Kings Mountain, a lot of weapons. And Kings Mountain has been a team that in the past, no matter what was happening, somebody would get hurt. Some major player would get hurt. And they've went through Mac, him being hurt, but they've survived him this year and been able to go on. But everybody's going to say, well, man, they're 11-2. Well, yeah, you're right. But they also beat Shelby. And then people say, well, my Lord, who'd they lose to? And you go back and look at that. So some people think, hey, this is a Kings Mountain team that might falter when you're having to go against the AC Reynolds teams like they're having to face tonight. But again, I think Kings Mountain, I think they're playing for something. Coach Lloyd's playing for something. Here's your opportunity again. Show everybody in Cleveland County that there's no injuries going to stop us this year, that we're going to succeed in what everybody's been saying that we should have done the last 5 or 6 years was win a state title. Let's move on. And I think Kings Mountain's going to go up there, and I think they're going to win. I think AC Reynolds maybe can score with them, but Kings Mountain's defense is awful tough. But I'm still going to take Kings Mountain 42-28 over AC Reynolds tonight.
Yeah, talking about that AC Reynolds team, you said they're 11-2. I don't know if there's a better playoff coach in the state than Shane Laws. Yeah. So many times you've got this AC Reynolds team. They come in, maybe they've got 2 or 3 losses, but they, without a doubt, are one of the better playoff teams. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll finish up on this game, let you know what else we have going on. This is the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show right here on KTC.
Since 1977, Shelby Heating and Air has been serving this area with the finest in Carrier heating and air conditioning products. Turn to the experts. Turn to Carrier and Shelby Heating and Air. Plus, they service all brands and are accredited A+. Visit their website at shelbyheating.com. Just call 704-487-7877 for Shelby Heating and Air, voted best heating and air conditioning in Cleveland County and a member of the Better Business Bureau.
Gamble's Auto Service at 104 South DeKalb Street in Uptown Shelby is your one-stop service center for repair work on your auto. Locally owned and operated since 1980, they offer light and medium automotive repair on all types of vehicles. Bill Gamble and his friendly staff can do state inspections, minor engine repair work, brakes, air conditioning, and heating service, timing belts, tune-ups, and oil changes, and lubrication. And now Gamble sells new and used tires. Stop by and let Gamble's Auto Service take care of your automotive repairs and servicing. That's Gamble's Auto Service, 104 South DeKalb Street, Uptown Shelby. Call 704-487-5079.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
You hear them pads going You hear them clicks going
And welcome back to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. I'm Rob Roop here along with Terry Reinhardt as we're wrapping up, getting ready for all the pregames to begin for all of our games here tonight. Terry, we were touching on AC Reynolds and Kings Mountain before we went to break, talking about that AC Reynolds team. The 2 losses this year on the season come to East Forsyth, still alive in the playoffs.
They sure.
Very good team. And the Shelby Golden Lions, still alive in the playoffs. Very good team.
So that's what I'm talking about. When you think of who they've lost to, they have lost to teams that are still in and playing.
And it was interesting. They were struggling at the start of the year. They were trying to find a quarterback, and we know if you don't have a quarterback, it's hard to make the offense go. Eli Carr has stepped in now as a starting quarterback, 239 yards passing a game for that team. And like you said, Terry, we mentioned Kings Mountain. To me, the big key now, and we've started to see his name appearing now more in the stats, for Kalen Max back for Kings Mountain. He brings that change of pace. Watching Brooks is a little shifty back that can get in behind guys, make you miss. For Kalen Max, just a bowling ball. And once he gets the football, he's a straight ahead runner. So to me, that's the difference right now for Kings Mountain. The thing I'm interested for me, and I know he's played in some big games, but they start to get bigger. How does Ethan Reed respond at quarterback for Kings Mountain? First year starter for Kings Mountain, come in as a transfer. I think it's Kings Mountain. The two games they lost this year were at Crest, at Hunter Huss, both on the road, and they both were played with turnovers in those games. Big environment, big crowds for both of those. Ethan Reed steps into that tonight. Could that be a difference?
Ooh, Rob, when you say stuff like that, and it is a big difference. This is Thanksgiving weekend. When you win here, you go to the Western Finals. You're one game away then from being in the state. And does it make a difference? Yes, it does for any guy that's out there right now, unless you're a quarterback who's won it last year.
Right.
Will them things make a difference tonight? I don't think it will for him. And here's the reason why, because I know that he's got wide receivers at pace hour.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something about that young man right there. I saw him in scrimmages and in games where this guy goes from a 5'4" runner into a 4.3 runner as soon as he touches the ball. Mm-hmm. I've never in my life seen a guy that can excel and go to fast
his
speed.
second gear is amazing,
like
how fast he gets into
and
it.
fast. And then all of a sudden, when you're within 2 yards of him, next thing you know, you're 10 yards behind him. He has run away from you and made a difference. But could it make a difference? It could. Can AC Reynolds do something on defense to mess him up? That's what a lot of people are going to think. Can they get pressure on him to force him to do stuff that he does not want to do? Be careful with your defensive ends from AC Reynolds. If they can get pressure, that might force him to be different. But I don't think that's going to happen.
The difference for me watching Reed this year versus Kalen Wade last year, Reed is not comfortable when he's having to throw on the move. Mm-hmm. That's the key, is to get him out of the pocket. Kalen Wade last year, watching him throw out of the pocket, motion, forced out, roll left, roll right, he was still, nailing those receivers. So I think that's a big key there. We talk about pace hour. I like Davidson as well. I think he's the forgotten man offensively, what he does on the other side wide receiver-wise for this team. The reason I worry about reading this one, I know they went on the road the last 2 times. To me, going to West Henderson is not overwhelming. I don't even think going to Statesville last week. There's not an air of of greatness when you go to Statesville. Now, not taking anything away from the Statesville program, but I don't see championship banners hanging up. I don't see all these things. You're going to show up to that school. You're going to see that big giant rocket sitting out there in front of the stadium, and then you're going to get there. And like you said, when we were talking about these other schools, all these championship banners that are going to be hanging around, you got to be careful. And I think it goes back to West Lincoln as well. Don't let your eyes get big.
Exactly.
Because of what you see in the environment. Stay focused on the game plan.
I agree with you 100%. And to me tonight, when you get there, go with your game plan. Coach Lloyd will have you ready. Stick with it. And if it goes awry at the start, don't give up your game plan if you've had it in place all week. And that's the problem I have too. Sometimes, and I don't think Coach Lloyd's that type of a coach, if it goes astray in the first quarter, stay with it because everything comes back. And I've seen him do that against Monroe this year when they were behind and they stayed with it. Next thing you know, they blow out Monroe. But, and the deal with Shelby, a lot of people say in that game, Kings Mountain, Shelby turned the ball over too much is why that game ended up being like it was. Come on, give the guy credit.
That's exactly
they
right.
won, and I think that's what's going to happen tonight for Kings Mountain.
Well, tell you, it's exciting tonight. We do want to let everybody know that all 3 games tonight you're going to be able to watch live on YouTube. Thanks. Kings Mountain tonight is sponsored by Floyd America on Slater Street in Kings Mountain. Thank you to them tonight for allowing Kings Mountain to be on live video tonight. The Shelby West Lincoln game is being sponsored by an anonymous sponsor. So, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, we certainly appreciate you there. And the North Lincoln Burns game is being sponsored by Robert Morgan Funeral Home and Cremation Service in Boiling Springs. A big thank you as well to there as well. I hope the folks are able to get out tonight and visit and see some of these games. But if you're not, hey, KTC's got you covered. You get a chance to see those games as well. Terry, we just got a couple minutes left. I'm going to touch on maybe the 4A a little bit. Or
that's what we're going to do before we go off. We're going to hit base on the 4A. We got Ragsdale against East Forsyth. Ragsdale comes in the number 3 seed, but they're 6-6 against the East Forsyth team that's number 2 seed, 10-2. Rob, I got East Forsyth winning this one pretty easy.
Yeah, I think again, and that's the thing with the 4A, similar to the 1A, you got those first round buys. So you got a 500 team that only had kind of slipped through. Now they're playing an excellent football team in that East Forsyth squad.
On the other end of it, Winston-Salem Glen 9-4 against Greensboro-Grimsley 11-1. This one, be careful on, but I think Greensboro-Grimsley playing at home will come out victorious.
Yeah, I like Grimsley in that one as well. Again, I think maybe, like I said, maybe a little closer than what we saw. Should be a good rivalry game, but I like Grimsley as well.
In the 4AA, Vance, the number 10 seed at 10-2 against the number 3 West Forsyth team, 11-1. Vance, they've succeeded the last few years of being one of the teams out of Charlotte who advance, into this round, but West Forsyth to me would be too much.
Yeah, I like Coach Brand and what he does at Vance, but again, he's talking about a great program with West Forsyth. I will take West Forsyth at home.
And then we got Myers Park, the number 4 seed at 12-0 against a number 1 Richmond County, 12-0. And when I think of Richmond County, I go back into the late 90s, into 2000s, when on the east side it was always Richmond County winning, and on our side over here it was Independence and Butler, and they'd meet in the final, or New Bern was one of the teams that was always there. But a great program over at Richmond County. When our state come out with a little old Tibler at Friday Night Lights, Richmond County was one of the teams in there with Scotland County. But I'm going to take Richmond County to win this one.
I tell you what, we talk about games around the state. This is one of the best games around the state tonight. Myers Park quarterback Drake May, 263 passing per game. And then Caleb Hood, I think the quarterback is underrated for Richmond, 157 passing, 70 on the ground. This is going to be a great game. The thing about Myers Park, somebody in Mecklenburg County always has to take that mantle.
Yes.
But you've had, now the interesting thing with Myers Park, so many NFL players, kids. That's kind of where they're sending their children out of Myers Parks. And you're starting to see the youth being served of those former NFL players.
It is. And then, when you're talking about, again, 2 teams at 12-0. In South Carolina, the Big Six is on the way down there. They're down to their Final Four team, Dutch Fork, 12-0-1. Former coach Tommy Knox is trying to lead them to another state title. Down there they go against Carolina Forest tonight at 12-1. And Gaffney and Dorman play tonight. Gaffney 10-3, Dorman 13-0. Their championship for that Big 16 is next week, December the 7th.
Yeah, Gaffney knocked off Mark Barnes' Coach Sumter team last week. Of course, Mark Barnes, former coach here in North Carolina, and from what I hear, everybody's playing for second place because Tommy Knox once again has the best team in the state.
He looks like it every year again.
Well, looks like we are about out of time here on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Again, don't forget, you can check out all the games are available on video tonight on YouTube. We'll have you covered here on the stations as well. Terry, man, it's going to be an exciting night for Cleveland and Lincoln County.
It is, and for Rob, thank you, for being here with us tonight.
I've loved it.
I love it. I love it when we get somebody from this part of our other broadcasting systems to come in, because you bring something different to the table when we're in here. Because me, Shannon, and Hunter, sometimes we can get locked in on one thing.
I understand. Understand. Good night, everybody.
Number 1 for fun.
Okay, roll the drums.
The Boss, 101.5 FM, 1390 AM, WOH.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wise with Mr. Sparky by Wise Electric Control. Did you know we cover the entire Charlotte market?
Our Mr. Sparky electricians are everywhere to serve you from Cherryville, Kings Mountain, Gastonia to downtown Charlotte. We are your local electrician to call when you have any home or business electrical issues. If you're a Panthers fan, Knights fan, or Hornets fan, Mr. Sparky is here for you.
No more malarkey. Call Mr. Sparky.
It's the Summer to Drive Yamaha sales event at Full Throttle Power Sports in Gastonia. Yes, it's time to get out and ride. Get up to $3,000 in customer cash and low 2.99% APR financing during this special event. And check out the new Yamaha Slingshot, the ultimate joy ride, with rebates of up to $2,500 and 2.99% APR financing for up to 60 months. So get out and ride during the Summer to Drive sales event at Full Throttle Power Sports, 100 Indian Walk, exit 22 off I-85 in Lowell. Pregame Insurance Services in Shelby is now All Care Insurance Services, and they invite you to see their newly remodeled office and talk with them about your insurance needs. If that's too far away from you, they have an All Care Insurance location in both Gastonia and Belmont areas. All Care Insurance has strived to be the best by providing quality insurance coverage with great commitment to customer service. Whether you need coverage for your home, auto, business, life, or something more, their experienced agents are there to help you. Visit one of their convenient locations, 220 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, 4515 Wilkinson Boulevard in Gastonia, and 7005 Suite E Wilkinson Boulevard in Belmont. That's All Care Insurance Services. The Creekside Clock Restaurant in Shelby takes this time to welcome all the American Legion of Baseball World Series teams to Shelby and Cleveland County. We wish all of you good luck. Check out their specials like ribeye or New York Strip USDA Choice Angus 10-ounce steak. Hand cut daily and served at your choice of one side and Texas toast. Get 2 for $22. And enjoy their Saturday morning breakfast buffet from 8 till 11 a.m. And their weekend buffet, Friday and Saturday 5 to 8, Sundays 11 to 2. It's all you can eat at the Creekside Clock Restaurant, 1025 Kaiser Street, right off Highway 74 East in Shelby. Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat.
Hi, I'm Diane Ledbetter with Remax Foothills Living, and it's possible I helped you buy or sell your home in the last 34 years. We are located at 2015 East Marion Street in Shelby near the Cleveland Mall. We are here to help you with all of your real estate needs. Call me or one of my agents, Dee Dee Dedman, Doug Dixon, Aaron Roberts, Rebecca Rice. We are ready to assist you with buying or selling your next home. You can reach us at 704-481-7523 or www.foothillslivingnc.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to third round 2AA football playoff action here at Shelby High School. It's the West Lincoln Rebels and the Shelby High Golden Lions here. This is our Abernathy Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Stadium pregame show with Brent Pasco, Jeff Jones, Hunter Yancey, Steve DeGree, bringing you the action here tonight. And Jeff, it's not typical weather for this time of the year. It's more in the 50, high 40s, low 50s range versus the 30s and 40s, but it is third round of the playoffs, and there's a bit of a nip in the air here tonight.
Well, third round of the playoffs is a very exciting time for everybody, and this West Lincoln Rebel team is coming in on an absolute hot streak. They have won their first 2 playoff games, and that's their first 2 playoff victories of all time. And they, as I mentioned, they've come in, and then they are now on a 3-game win streak. They lost a tough game to East Lincoln back on November the 1st, and then they just dominated Lake Norman Charter 56-12. Then they traveled to Ashe County, dominated that team by a score of 48-6, and then welcomed a South Point squad. And I know a lot of people were talking that South Point was going to out-athlete this team, and there was nothing doing with that, and West Lincoln was able to come up with a big 29-21 victory. So West Lincoln's coming in flying high, and the Golden Lions are also flying high. They come in with a rather lengthy win streak. They've won 8 straight games, and their last loss was way back in September 20th at Kings Mountain. Golden Lions are 11-1, West Lincoln 10-3.
Yeah, Coach Darren Ponder brings his Rebels in here. These two teams met last year, Jeff, in the playoffs. Shelby did not, blow them out, and that was a great Shelby team last year. They won 27-8. It was a game that was very close, at least into the third quarter. West Lincoln has a new look because they do have a new quarterback this year at the helm in Mason Hewitt, and they have 2 new running backs in Xander Pendergrass and also number 15 Cannon Bridges. And Jeff, those guys have brought in some impressive stats for the Rebels.
They definitely have, and this Rebels team really, to me, they resemble the Golden Lions of about 1998, 1999. They run the wing T and the triple option. They can occasionally get into a shotgun formation, and so they are very multiple. And it's a really good team that West Lincoln has. West Lincoln and Shelby series history. The first game was back in 1997. Shelby has won all 11 games in this series, and the last 3 games were in the playoffs, 2006, 2011, and 2018. And as you said, last year's final was 27-8, and it was actually in the second quarter, Shelby led 13-8.
Yeah, tough ball game. Like we said, Mason Hewitt, though, has come in. He's been running this wing T offense very effectively for the Rebels. They've got, one running back over 2,000 yards, another running back over 1,000 yards. And at this point, everything is doing very well for West Lincoln. So Shelby's got the work cut out for him on defense. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes after this break. We'll be back. You're listening to Shelby and West Lincoln on WCSL, WOHS, and on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wise with Mr. Sparky by Wise Electric Control. Did you know we cover the entire Charlotte market?
Our Mr. Sparky electricians are everywhere to serve you from Cherryville, Kings Mountain, Gastonia to downtown Charlotte. We are your local electrician to call when you have any home or business electrical issues. If you're a Panthers fan, Knights fan, or Hornets fan, Mr. Sparky is here for you.
No more malarkey. Call Mr. Sparky.
It's the Summer to Drive Yamaha sales event at Full Throttle Power Sports in Gastonia. Yes, it's time to get out and ride. Get up to $3,000 in customer cash and load 2.99% APR financing during this special event. And check out the new Yamaha Slingshot, the ultimate joy ride, with rebates of up to $2,500 and 2.99% APR financing for up to 60 months. So get